telling myself I'm gonna be back here, and when I'm coming back to Copenhagen, I'm gonna rent a room here.
I had about a month's time worth of savings that my mom saved up for 20 years.
I just went into the university and I printed 500 CVs. I'm gonna be the janitor. They're like, oh, you don't have to come in tomorrow. I'm like, shit.
I needed a job yet again.
They had 110 wines, and the guy put it in front of me, and he was like, you have 7 days to learn this.
I hustled myself a Tesla. It was almost the same price as a Ferrari at the time. This week I'm going to Copenhagen. Yeah, I think it will be cool. Like, you know, the thing is with Copenhagen is like we had nothing, like proper nothing. Like we lived at a 30 square meter apartment with my now wife. I was driving Uber, and yeah, we had nothing. So it's gonna be cool going back and just seeing like the progress. You know, and also like I hustled myself a Tesla through the non-profit organization that I was working with. So I was like, it was a non-profit organization that was doing entrepreneurship and pitches and whatnot. And there was a University Startup World Cup that I was doing the deal flow for. And I reached out to Tesla and I said, I need a car for a week so we can do a Tesla pitch where an investor would sit in the back, and it would be great for, they just entered Copenhagen or Denmark, and it would be so good. And they actually gave the car for a week for me. And it was a brand new Tesla Model S 20, it was 2017. And I remember sitting there with, again, my now wife, and I'm telling her, like, I promise you we're gonna get a Tesla. Like, and it was, bruh, that car was like, it was almost the same price as a Ferrari at the time. Like, it was a very fucking expensive car. And we were sitting there and like, you know, I'm gonna get a Tesla. So this Tesla thing stuck with me. And now that I drive a Tesla daily, it's just, yeah, it's gonna be interesting just going back and seeing where this whole thing began.
It was more than soft porn for the gay man. She remember my sprinter, so I was.
Round 1, fight.
You're impatient, aren't you? Sure, babe. Watch this. Just for you. I could slip this dress off. Ready to make this moment even hotter.
Sis, take the dress off, bruh.
Oh, come on. Don't be so dramatic, bruh. The dress is already off. See? I'm spinning around, giving you the full show.
But your dress is not off.
Seriously? I just said it's off like 10 times already.
And I have eyes, and I see it's not off. Do you see my eyes?
Babe, you're really pushing it. I swear, it's off. I'm not messing
It's not
with you,
off.
but
I'm telling you, it's not off.
that's enough. If you're gonna keep throwing shit like that, I'm out. Dress or no dress, I don't need this crap, babe.
Where are you going to go? You're in my screen. You can't just be out. Rate me on a scale from 1 to 10.
Hey, babe, you're looking pretty damn good. I'd rate you an easy 8, maybe pushing a 9 with that sharp style in those eyes.
This is also me on a picture. Can you rate me on this picture?
In that pic, you've got a bold vibe going, rocking that confident pose. I'd rate you a solid 7, with some extra points for that rugged charm.
Sis, you rate that photo a 7 and you rate me an 8? It's gonna be all-time highs after all-time highs, and the odds will follow, and it's gonna be great. And this is what I tweeted. This belief stage. This is what we're talking about. There's 9 billion worth of Bitcoin potentially hitting the market. The US voted against the legislation, and you still can't get an entry.
No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count.
I am very close to 50,000 followers in X. So if you, I'm very close, meaning I'm 8 followers away from 50,000 followers. So, Cos said that I should do a backflip on show. I'm definitely not doing that. I'm gonna break my neck. But I'm gonna tweet this. And if we could, if we could do this now, I would love that. We're still missing 8 followers. 8, that's it. Unfollowing now. Haha, so much funny. Do the hand plant on an... I could actually do a handstand. I will do a handstand, right? If we hit 50,000, I will do a handstand. I can do a handstand, so that's good. Can you unfollow me and follow me back? How do you know? Did we reach it? Did we reach it? Yes. Did we? Let me just see. 50,000! Guys. Okay, so I do a handstand. Guys, we just reached 50,000. Okay, 50,002 in fact. Holy shit, what a journey, hey? Started January last year when I had 1,500 followers. Now we're up at 50,000 and we're just getting started. So absolute legends, absolute legends. But this is amazing. I'm so happy that we reached it here. We started here, we are here. 50K, bro. That's 50,000. I mean, I have to do the handstand, should I? I'm gonna be fair. Like I said that you can just let me know what I should do here. So let's read it. Drink a bottle of Palinga. No, I'm not doing that. Handstand, love it. Okay, should I do the handstand? I can do the handstand. Okay, let's do it. Handstand. Okay, let's do it. Handstand. You live one. Okay, let's go. Bro.
January. I'm still holding Tubby, Junior, Binu, Peter.
Okay, that's all you're getting. That's all you're getting. I'm not doing it again.
No more parties in LA. Please, baby, no more parties in LA. No more.
I'm actually in a big rush, so you can get, what is it? Get ready with me. What is this? GRWM. So yeah, I want to tell you this. So we got this ledger, and we are like big ass shout out to Ledger. We're good friends, and they sent us this in advance. No one knows that this is coming out, only us know. And so we got this device. I'm gonna do the video, so when it drops, we can drop the video. I'm super excited. They have this new recovery, what?
It's a flex.
Yes.
So they think that it's only a flex.
Yeah, but it's not.
Yeah.
But it says here what the extra thing is, which you don't see. So yeah, by the time this vlog drops, it's gonna be out, so it's fine. It's pretty cool. I'm packing. I'm going to Denmark now. I've been living in Denmark for a long time, so for like 5 years. And so I'm going back and having nostalgia and shit. I'm gonna be, you know, just, it's also cool because that's the first place I moved together with my now wife. So it's gonna be cool. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to Denmark. And we're gonna be looking around with my beautiful wifey and kiddo in the places that we lived. And I'm gonna meet my university professor that I haven't seen for 10 years. Yeah, he DM'd me on LinkedIn, but it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be legendary. I'm excited to go. Actually, it's gonna be awesome.
I wanna be a billionaire so fucking bad. Buy all of the things I never had. Everything. I wanna be on the cover of Forbes magazine, smiling next to Oprah and the Queen. What up, Oprah?
So the whole thing was so emotional that I wanted to reflect looking back a little bit. So I just wanted to tell you a couple of things. One of them is going back to the hotel was kind of crazy.
A different city every night.
You have to understand, as I got to Denmark, like I had nothing. I had about a month's time worth of savings that my mom saved up for 20 years, and I was done if I didn't find anything.
She gave it to my 18th birthday, and she's like, this is all I can give you, like that's it. And so I came to Denmark, and I remember that my deposit for the flat, now Denmark is so much more expensive than Hungary, the deposit that I had to pay before even coming here, before even seeing the flat, was $3,000. But there was there was not enough accommodation here in Copenhagen, so I was like, okay, let's do it. And so I had $3,800. I spent about $800 on the move. I spent about $1,000 on like getting stuff and buying, you know. I spent probably $200-300 on school books and whatever, and I had about $2,000, $1,500 left for, you know, to live. And I had no job, I had nothing. So I had about 60 days, 45 days to just make it happen. And so I literally had no other option than to just walk around everywhere in Copenhagen. And I printed my CV at the university because I didn't have a printer. And it was very expensive to print. So I just went into the university and I printed 500 CVs. And I was handing out my CV manually to all the hotels, all the restaurants. And then this place called me back in like a week. And they're like, hey, do you want to come and do this thing? And I'm like, yeah. So what will I do? And it's like, yeah, you're going to be kind of like working at the housekeeping. You're gonna be the janitor.
So it was the first place I found the shittiest job ever.
So you know, this is like, I opened this place up in the morning, and I remember so the sun comes up there, right? So I was coming up here every single morning when I was working and looking over as the sun is coming up, and I even have a photo like this. And I've been looking at the sunset. Oh, what is it? The sunrise, the sun coming up. Yeah, and I've been looking down here All those that you see, I've been watering them with a water can. So the other thing is all these flowers that you see, or what is it, all these plants. So they didn't have a hole. So I had to actually take a watering can and walk around and water all these flowers. Everything that you see, all the plants, every second morning. Just water them every second morning, all of these. You know what's interesting is that, I don't know if I told you the story, but there was a story on how I got fired from this place. So the way I got fired from this place was that I was, I was sitting on the fire stairs, reading, learning. But what I used to do is I didn't have enough work, so I always read and always did stuff on the fire stairs because I just had to. I couldn't. After a couple of months, I couldn't clean rooms, so I was like, I have a lot of job to do, and I'm running around, and I did all my work in like 2 hours. So what I did is fire stairs. Exactly. So I've been sitting literally here. Not giving a fuck about any of this. But doing my work, like I did my work in 2 hours, don't get me wrong. Like I did my work in 2 hours that they were planning for me for like 5 or 6, and I was chilling in the fire stairs, and I ran through the reception, seemingly very busy, and then I went back to learning. And so anyway, one day there was a management change. The girl came down, she was a young Polish girl, shout out to her. And she came down and she was like, okay, I want you to write down what you do by the minute in a day. And I started at 6 a.m., so it's like 5:45 usually, 6 a.m. And then by 8 o'clock I had not really much to write. And she was like, okay, cool. So as a punishment, she came, it was her second day or third day. She came out and she said, so here's a bucket and you have to wash down this wall, like what you see here, the gray wall, this entire wall with a sponge, and this here, and just around the hotel. You see here, like around the hotel? No. The whole thing. She like wash all this down, like with a sponge and a bucket of water. So like all that you see there, all of this, just wash it down with a sponge and the bucket of water. I'm like, I'm not doing it. And she was like, okay, well, then we can continue hiring you. And I'm like, so like, I was definitely having enough of this shit. Like, so what's the plan? She was like, yeah, you don't have to come in tomorrow. I'm like, shit, I have no money, I have nothing. I was like, okay, fine. It's, it's an experience being back here. I thought it was gonna be more sentimental for me, and it is, like the smells and whatever is good. It's the same smell, bro. It's the exact same smell. Oh my God. It's the same thing. Oh, it's the same aromas. It's wow.
And being back in the hotel, I was thinking, seeing the people eating breakfast and whatever, and I was cleaning the hotel, cleaning the elevator, and thinking, these guys made it in life. And being one of the guys staying at the hotel, which again, now thinking back is nothing, but at the time there was like, wow.
When I was standing here 9 years ago, literally nothing. Like when I say nothing, I had fucking nothing, bro. I was living paycheck to paycheck. Nothing, like nothing. In fact, I had debt, but I knew where I'm going. I had zero doubt in my mind. I was telling myself, I was standing here. I was telling myself, I'm gonna be back here. And when I'm coming back to Copenhagen, I'm gonna rent a room here. I'm gonna book a room here and I'm gonna stay in this hotel. But I didn't realize, like now my wife was like, why do you wanna stay in that hotel? And I'm like, because I've been here. It's like, okay, but like, shouldn't we just stay like a normal hotel? I mean, this is a great hotel, don't get me wrong. But at that time I thought it was this was like the thing for me. The thing, this hotel was. And then now we're staying at the Tivoli, which is like a 5-star, like a proper hotel. But at the time, this thing for me was like really the thing. But anyway, I was standing here, and every morning I literally told myself, I envisioned myself being extremely wealthy, staying at hotels like this, which I thought was the top hotels. Just believe, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you do, just believe and work your face off. And I promise you it will happen. I promise you it will happen.
So we went to this restaurant, which was called Bastion at the time. And this is an old mill from, like, it's a very old building, probably, if you ask me, haunted by ghosts. And the whole story behind that is that when I got fired from the hotel, I had to find something. And I handed in my CV and they called me, and I was a runner. So I was cleaning plates, I did not speak the language. So I was doing, again, the shittiest job. I was cleaning the tables, I was cleaning the plates, like doing all that stuff. I was cleaning one of the glasses at a time, and the owner at the time ran in and it was like, oh my God, we don't have like a bartender for the night. Do you know how to make cocktails? And I was like, yes, sure, of course I know how to make cocktails. So the guy was like, okay, this is the 3-4 cocktails we need. It was apple crisp, pina colada, dark and stormy, and espresso martini. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. I know all these cocktails, so it's fine. He's like, okay, cool. They started arriving in like 3 hours, so you should be ready. I'm like, 3 hours? I had no fucking clue what I'm doing. I went into the toilet and I literally sat on the toilet and just YouTubed, because there was no ChatGPT at the time. Just YouTubed and Googled pictures and whatever, how to set up a bar, how to do these cocktails, and I wrote it down for myself. And then people started to arrive, and I made a pina colada, and my boss came and he tasted it and he was like, holy shit, this is the best pina colada I've ever had. So he went home, he took his wife so she could taste my pina colada, and he looked at me and he's like, you are the head bartender from today. And I was like, you know, the good story about this is just, you know, do it. Just take the opportunity and then learn it on the way. Don't say no to an opportunity. The worst thing that can happen is you fail and you get fired, which could have happened to me, but it didn't. So I started driving Uber, and then Uber went bust. The police, we had to drive the cars where the police didn't see because the taxi companies didn't like it, so they made it illegal. It was all crazy. And then I needed a job yet again because I didn't have savings. So I went down to this restaurant called 𝗙𝗘𝗙𝗘'𝗦, and it was so cool. I walked in and you see the big bar, the same bar. It looks exactly the same with this small room. I even had the shot in the room where we had the meetings. The place I got hired. In the restaurant, they had about 100 wines. The boss of the place came to me and he literally just put down, like, he realized that I'm not a big shot. And he put a bottle in front of me. He put the cover on like a sommelier, and he was like, okay, tell me what you taste in this wine. I had no fucking clue, bro. I was drinking like cheap wine and cheap beers at the time. And I was like, I don't know. And I heard shit like it's fruity and it's like so, you know, fruity. And I was like, oh, it's a fruity wine. And he looked at me. He was, I will never forget. He's just smelling the wine. He's like, oh, you think it's fruity? And I'm like, holy shit, like, do I think it's fruity? Like, I don't know. I just looked at him and like, I mean, I kind of do, don't you? Like, what do you think? And he was like, okay. So he obviously, I was bullshitting. So he brought a deck of papers like this. He was like, this is all the wines that we have or usually have. It's like probably 100 plus wines. And it was like, you have to learn all of them by Monday. And yeah, I didn't. So that's that. When we moved out with my now wife, we left a lock on one of the bridges. It was so cool because I even forgot about it. And we were talking about, we'll come back in 5 years, 10 years, and we're gonna look at it, it's gonna be so cool. And we forget the whole thing. And now that it came to the fact that we're gonna go back, it's like, holy shit, we have a lock. Like, we should go and find it. And we didn't know there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of locks already on that bridge. And so it was very difficult for us to find it. But my wife found a picture in her phone that had the ship on, so we saw where the ship turns, and then we saw the date on the picture in her phone, so I could scroll back, and I had a video recorded on where we placed it. So it was fantastic. It was phenomenal. So we found it in the end. Unfortunately, we didn't take a video when we found it, but we did. It's yeah, it's awesome.
When I'm a billionaire, I wanna be a billionaire so fucking bad.